Mo Jefferson's under duress.
Have you ever witnessed a professional athlete lose control on live national television? Have you ever wondered what happens when raw frustration meets the moment the world is watching?
Austin is going to get whistled for the foul. She's trying to argue that Reese had her hooked. She did on that seal.
I mean, wow. Reese is definitely finding her own, and I think knowing the way they treat her, they would probably find her and suspend her. The behavior that Angel Reese has been displaying is embarrassing. Angel Reese just got suspended on July 7, 2025 after pouring in a dominant 22 points and 15 rebounds, only to suffer a heartbreaking two-men loss to the Mystics. And in a total out-of-mind situation, she smacked a clipboard clean out of her coach's hands on live national TV. Now, the Chicago Sky has drawn the line, and the entire WNBA is in shock.
The faking being fouled motion.
From the opening tip, this looked like another showcase of Reese's talents. She darted up and down the court, snatched rebounds with the ferocity of a caged lion, and dropped mid-range jumpers as if she was born with the game in her DNA. Yet even as she put on a performance worthy of MVP consideration, a storm was brewing just beneath the surface. By halftime, you could feel it in the air. Every missed free throw, every tense huddle, every sideline glance fueled the embers of frustration. And by the time the timeout came in the fourth quarter, those embers exploded into an inferno that nobody saw coming.
With the leg injury, Sykes stitch on here. Shug Sutton attacking Iriafen was hit.
Slap. Just like that. The clipboard flew from her assistant coach's hand, spinning end over end before clattering to the hardwood. The arena gasped. Commentators froze mid-sentence, and millions of viewers witnessed a moment that will be replayed for years to come. This was no mere outburst. It was a declaration of war against referees, against coaches, against the very system that binds teams together. Within minutes, social media ignited. Clips exploded across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Fans and pundits alike weighed in, some calling it the most disrespectful act in professional sports history, others hailing it as the unfiltered passion of a true competitor.
On that rebound in the side of the head, she's still on the ground. Here's Onyenwere attacking.
Now, the Chicago Sky has moved swiftly. Reese has been suspended indefinitely, her salary frozen, and her reputation hanging in the balance. Questions swirl. Is this the end of her tenure in Chicago? Will the WNBA step in with further punishment? Or is this simply another chapter in the epic saga of one of the most polarizing figures in women's basketball? One thing is clear. No one is looking at her stat line anymore. All anyone can talk about is that clipboard, that seismic moment when control was lost and chaos reigned.
Back there by Austin. Here's Reese on the offensive board. Does not go. Iriafen still there.
This isn't a story about numbers or box scores. It's about leadership, discipline, and the fine line between competitive fire and outright rebellion. It's about a locker room crumbling under pressure and a coach struggling to maintain authority. It's about a star player whose talent is matched only by her volatility, and it's about a franchise at a crossroads. Do they stand by their star, or do they enforce standards that transcend wins and losses?
On the rebound here,
They got to blow the whistle, right? It's a live ball. You got to blow.
In the coming weeks, the fallout will only grow louder. Sponsors will tweet their concern, league officials will hold closed-door meetings, teammates will be asked to comment, and fans will polarize further. Rumors of trade requests will swirl like a tornado, and through it all, Angel Reese will be left to reckon with the fallout of one impulsive act. A single slap that could redefine her legacy.
The whistle. Am I
Austin
wrong?
inside. Unless there's no advantage.
So buckle up, because this roller coaster is far from over. In the chapters ahead, we'll dive into the origins of this meltdown, the impact on team dynamics, the historical context of player-coach conflicts, and the ripple effects across the WNBA. We'll examine whether passion can ever justify disrespect, and whether a franchise can recover when its leader fractures the foundation of respect. Angel Reese's career has been a whirlwind from the moment she arrived in the league. Heralded as a generational talent, she carried the weight of expectations on her shoulders before she even stepped onto a WNBA court. In her rookie season, she dazzled with athleticism, court awareness, and rebounding prowess, quickly becoming a fan favorite and social media sensation. Yet behind the highlight reels and viral dances lay a simmering temper, a relentless drive that brooked no compromise.
From your perspective, just what you saw in that play, how you interpreted what happened? basketball player.
It wasn't until mid-season that the first cracks began to show. Late-game frustrations boiled over in small ways, slams of the ball on missed calls, heated words with referees, icy stares at opponents who dared challenge her dominance. Teammates whispered in huddles, coaches sighed behind closed doors. Yet management wrote it off as youthful fire, a sign that her passion would one day power the sky to glory. But passion, when unchecked, can become combustible. In June 2025, during a marquee matchup against the Indiana Fever, Reese and rookie standout Caitlin Clark turned the arena into a battleground. Verbal jabs escalated into a physical scuffle, a brush of arms, a shove, a moment that had fans on their feet. While neither player suffered serious injury, the symbolism was undeniable. The game had slipped from the hardwood to the headlines, and control had slipped from coach to star. Chicago's front office responded with a 2-game suspension, citing conduct detrimental to the team. For many, it was too lenient. Critics argued that no player, regardless of talent, should be above accountability. Fans split into camps, those who defended her intensity as competitive fire, and those who decried it as a lack of respect. Through it all, Reese remained defiant, vowing to channel her frustration into performances that would silence her detractors.
Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cared about tonight's game. Caitlin Clark runs this league, and we still managed to get...
Yet the stage was set. When July 7th rolled around, every eye in the country was on her. The Mystics game was hyped as another potential highlight in her ascent, and indeed, her numbers were sterling. 22 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists in a down-to-the-wire affair. But as the clock ticked under 2 minutes, the Sky trailed by 1. A timeout was called. That timeout, Angel's face contorted with frustration. Words were exchanged on the sideline. An assistant coach reached out with the clipboard, attempting to refocus the team. What happened next will forever be seared in WNBA lore. She slapped that clipboard clean out of his hands as if it were a lowly backboard censor rather than a tool of strategy. And just like that, discipline gave way to anarchy. The silence that followed was deafening. Players averted their eyes. Broadcasters groped for words. The arena lights seemed to dim as the gravity of the moment settled over everyone. This wasn't passion at its peak, it was raw defiance. A line had been crossed, not just between a player and coach, but between what is acceptable and what is unforgivable.
Clapped up by 30 even without her playing. Thank God she didn't play, or else we might have lost by 50.
In the hours that followed, video clips spread like wildfire. Fans rang in from every time zone condemning or defending her. Some saw a young star pushed to her limits. Others saw disrespect that demanded punishment. Chicago Sky issued a statement labeling the act unacceptable and announcing an indefinite suspension. Now, the Sky face a dilemma. Their star player, the face of their franchise, is effectively benched. Their campaign for a playoff berth hangs in the balance. Coaches scramble to adjust rotations. Teammates must band together without their leader. And Reese herself must confront the consequences of a single impulsive act. As we move forward, we'll unpack how this incident came to define not just a player, but an entire season. We'll explore the burden of expectations, the tension between individuality and teamwork, and the fine line that separates a passionate competitor from a PR nightmare. Stay tuned as we peel back the layers of this saga and ask the ultimate question. Can the Chicago Sky and can Angel Reese recover from this clash of talent and temper?
46-37 lead here for Washington. Reese.
The moment the clipboard flew, the locker room doors swung open to a storm unlike anything the Chicago Sky had weathered before. Veteran players exchanged wary glances as they filed in, the air thick with tension and unanswered questions. Would they stand by their star, the one who had carried them on her shoulders night after night? Or would they quietly resent the spectacle, fearing the fallout might stain their own reputations? In that charged silence, friendships wavered and alliances shifted. Some whispered that accountability was long overdue. Others muttered that no one dared touch a player of Reese's caliber. Players who had once cheered her on now found themselves tiptoeing around her presence. Practices became fractured, with quiet clusters forming at opposite ends of the court. Coaches attempted to restore focus, drilling defensive rotations and set plays, but eyes kept drifting toward the bench, where the absence of their focal point loomed large. Without Reese's gravitational pull, the offense sputtered. Without her rebounding prowess, second chance points vanished. The team that had prided itself on unity now resembled a crew scrambling to patch sails in a hurricane. Meanwhile, whispers of dissent crept into every corner of the facility. Assistants questioned whether they could effectively coach her in the future. Front office staff debated internal messaging, crafting statements that balanced support with the need for discipline. Ownership faced difficult calls. Would they risk alienating sponsors by punishing their marquee player, or would they undermine their own credibility by appearing to condone unacceptable behavior? In boardrooms and back offices, people who rarely spoke of basketball strategy now argued about optics, brand value, and moral high ground. Across the WNBA, executives watched closely. Angel Reese was not just any player. She was merchandise, storyline, headline generator. The league had marketed her as a face of the future, a magnetic force whose highlights drew new fans. Yet here she was, at the center of a controversy that challenged the league's image of professionalism and respect. WNBA officials debated internal discipline, fines, suspensions, mandatory counseling, or a combination. Some argued that a severe penalty would send a strong message about conduct. Others feared that overly harsh measures would stifle authenticity and drive away viewers who loved her unfiltered passion. Commissioner meetings stretched into the night with arguments centering on precedent. How had similar incidents been handled in other sports? Could they cite past WNBA examples where players crossed the line? The NFL and NBA offered cautionary tales of locker room blowups and sideline confrontations, but those leagues were not immune to criticism for double standards. Would punishing Reese too severely draw accusations of hypocrisy if male players received lighter fines for comparable infractions? In the end, the league wanted consistency, yet knew that every decision risked alienating someone: fans, sponsors, players, or media. This drama was hardly unprecedented. Throughout sports history, high-profile athletes have clashed with authority. In the 1980 SNBA, Larry Bird famously argued with referees, slamming his head into the scorer's table when calls didn't go his way. In Major League Baseball, umpires have been ejected after heated disputes that ended in thrown equipment. Yet those moments, while memorable, seldom involved a direct confrontation with one's own coach. Rarely had a player publicly removed a tool of strategy, the clipboard, from a coach's hand. That element of defiance cut deeper, for it symbolized the breakdown of the most fundamental relationship in team sports: the player-coach bond.
You're wrong.
Comparisons were inevitable. Commentators referenced the 1996 Carolina Panthers incident, where linebacker Kevin Green slapped a clipboard during practice, leading to his benching. Yet Green's slap never aired on national TV, and the team managed to downplay it. Reese's moment, by contrast, was broadcast live. The clip spread globally within seconds. The scale made it a new kind of case study, one that sports management and psychology programs would examine for years to come. It was a teachable moment about authority, ego, and the perils of live television.
Back to the 95% free throw shooter coming into the...
As the dust settled, media outlets roared to life. Pundits dissected every frame, slowing down the video to analyze Reese's body language and coach's reaction. Podcasts devoted entire episodes to debating whether coaches should respond in real time or wait until after the game. Social media amplified the debate. Some fans edited together mashups of the slap set to dramatic music. Others created memes mocking the Sky's organizational turmoil. Hashtags like ClipboardGate trended on Twitter, generating millions of impressions. On TikTok, influencers staged tongue-in-cheek reenactments, complete with world-weary commentary. But it wasn't all satire. Interviews with youth basketball coaches revealed genuine concern. How would they explain this behavior to young players? Parents wrote op-eds asking whether athletic programs emphasized respect enough. Educators questioned whether the culture of win at all costs had gone too far. In locker rooms and classrooms alike, the clip sparked conversations about boundaries, accountability, and modeling appropriate conduct. And for every joke, there was an earnest plea. Sports are supposed to build character, not showcase temper tantrums. No polarizing moment in sports is complete without a fan schism, and here was no exception. On one side stood the diehards, who lauded Reese's intensity. They argued that passion sometimes boiled over, and that excusing or ignoring injustice on the court was a greater sin than a clipped coach.
With the leg injury, Sykes sits on here, Shug Sutton attack.
If you've been glued to this saga and want more deep dives into the wild world of sports drama, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you believe Angel Reese has redeemed herself? Or is the damage too deep? Let me know, and stay tuned for more high-energy breakdowns of the moments that make sports unforgettable.